think what's really fascinating, I want to talk about the Antarctica connection here, the Antarctica base. I've been long fascinated by the massive underground city, the massive underground military.
This video is for entertainment purposes only. And as you're aware, it has been alleged that there are underground facilities in Antarctica, and why most of these nations of the world have signed the treaty. They can't agree on anything, but they do agree on one thing as well, about the ice walls that's out there in Antarctica. Why is it so limited to where you want to go? Everything is guided. Take a look at this video. Leave your comment.
I think what's really fascinating, I want to talk about the Antarctica connection here, the Antarctica base. I've been long fascinated by the massive underground city, the massive underground military complex that's in Antarctica that's kept off limits. Like if you go there on a cruise with your family,
Yep.
you will only be allowed to see a portion of Antarctica. You will not be allowed to see any further into these secure locations. As whistleblowers have pointed out for decades, they have been involved with managing interstellar trade out of Antarctica. According to Navy whistleblowers, that's not according to me. Keep your hate messages away. These are from Navy whistleblowers who've come forward, Spartan 1 and 2. And also we have Dan Sherman, whistleblower Dan Sherman from the U.S. Air Force, also who's confirmed these Antarctica doings. Now, and the NSA runs the office for managing interstellar trade, if I understand that, out of Antarctica. Can you, I mean, for somebody listening right now who's sitting there, their mind is blown. Wait a minute, we have a base in Antarctica and we're running interstellar trade out of there, and the NSA is involved in that? I mean, that sounds like fantasy.
The truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah, well, the NSA's been involved in tracking and monitoring UFO activity ever since its inception in 1952. In fact, that was probably one of the prime reasons why it was set up, signals intelligence, that the NSA has developed the capability to detect the appearance of UFOs anywhere over the Earth. And what has been found in studies is that wherever there's UFO activity, there's often a burst of gamma wave activity or gamma electromagnetic waves. And so the NSA has been able to set up a worldwide monitoring system where they can detect the appearance of UFOs anywhere on Earth. And so they've been detecting UFOs down in Antarctica for decades. There are reports on these UFO activities near Antarctica. And we know that the NSA has been monitoring signals traffic from Antarctica for a long time, as they do all over the world. But what's very interesting was these many reports about activities in Antarctica from various whistleblowers suggesting that there was a base there. And there were two whistleblowers that came forward, and they first reported this to Linda Moulton Howe, a veteran UFO researcher. They were called Spartan 1 and Spartan 2, and they said that there was a interstellar trading base in Antarctica that was run out of the headquarters for the National Security Agency in Fort Meade, Maryland, out of the 6th floor. So this is where it becomes very interesting why Dr. Kozlowski has been loaned by the NSA to run the Arrow office for a period, because he's there on detail. I mean, he hasn't been permanently moved to the Arrow office. He's there. He's an NSA scientist. And the thing is, he is aware, or would be aware, of a lot of this, because clearly his job in monitoring UFO activity would give him need to know about whatever records the NSA has on UFO activity. So this is where he very likely will be briefed, or has been briefed, about this office at the NSA running this interstellar trade out of Antarctica. And he also probably is very familiar with the testimony of Dan Sherman, who was a 12-year Air Force veteran who was seconded to the NSA to monitor communications with these grey extraterrestrials on behalf of the NSA. So the NSA has been tracking UFO activity. They've been tracking and communicating with extraterrestrial civilizations, and that they also run a interstellar trading base out of Antarctica?
I've interviewed whistleblower Eric Hecker. He was stationed in Antarctica. He worked for Raytheon. He was a defense contractor. He worked there at the base. He is now a whistleblower. He talked on my show about the massive military base in Antarctica and how that base at the South Pole is actually a giant air traffic control tower that monitors, as you point out, interstellar craft. Okay. Now, this has been confirmed by the Navy, U.S. Air Force whistleblowers. Again, members of the United States military, not me. I'm not saying this. This is the United States military confirming this. So are you hopeful?
You see, me, after watching that video, there's a few questions I want to ask, such as, what are they trading? What are the humans giving to these aliens? And what are the aliens giving to the humans? I want to know that. The guy also mentioned that they are grey. How do you know? Where can we find that information to say, you know what he's saying is actually the truth? I don't disbelieve him because truth is stranger than fiction, but I'm just saying I just want something tangible to have a look at, just like him. And how long this has been going on for? I've got another video for you. Take a look at this one.
So we were given orders to deviate. I believe it was 30-mile deviation away from the air sampling station. The officers on board suggested that we fly straight over the air sampling station and not deviate, and that would save us 30 minutes.
It was a no-fly zone.
It was a no-fly zone for that specific region around the pole.
When the crew flew over the area where the air sampling station was supposed to be, what they observed was something much different.
There was this giant indentation that looked like a hole in the ice that looked like a snow ramp that went down into it. The polar plateau at South Pole is completely flat. There are no holes there. Now there's this big, large hole in the ice that stood out like a sore thumb. It should not have been there.
Is it possible that the strange hole that Brian saw was the entrance to a secret, even extraterrestrial base that is hidden in Antarctica?
When we think about the location of an alien base, our attention should immediately focus on Antarctica. It's the perfect location for an extraterrestrial base if something was coming to and from Earth but wanted a permanent presence.